Hey, I'm Jon Gordon. I am with John Tillman, the head coach of the men's lacrosse team at the University of Maryland. John, great to be with you.
Hey, thanks for having me, John.
So, John, tell us, how long have you coached at Maryland?
This was the beginning of year 8 for me.
And how many championships did you play in terms of national championships?
We made the national championship in 5 of 7 seasons.
5 of 7 seasons. And what happened during those first 4 seasons? Did you win or did you lose?
In the first 4 times we went to the championship game, we came up a little short.
So 4 losses in the national championship. How do you as a coach and as a team and as a program, stay positive during those challenges? I mean, people wish they could play in a national championship. You did, but then you lose. There's got to be some pressure associated with that.
I think you always have to keep a balance. Certainly at a place like Maryland, we have really high goals. And those goals are really, really hard. And I think kind of keeping that in perspective that so many people have the same goals, which are very difficult to achieve. If you get that close, in certain ways, although there is tremendous disappointment, there's a lot to build upon. You're not far off. You feel like maybe you're doing a lot of good things, but you just need to do some things better. And also you realize sometimes it's a little bit of timing, just getting a little bit of luck and sometimes staying healthy.
Yeah, I remember watching those games and rooting for you and wanting to have success. And I was thinking, wow, they're right there. I mean, so many things just, went the other way, the other team's way during a game. And, a lot of times it just seemed like you were unlucky. But that fifth time you broke through, right? What did that feel like?
It's funny. It's a bit surreal. I guess it still hasn't necessarily hit home fully. I do think, there's so much that goes into the season and you're living day to day and week to week and you're so busy that once the game hits, your mind is just so dialed into the task at hand. You win the semifinal game and you're playing a game 48 hours later, or sometimes a little less than that. So you're trying to maximize every minute that you have in terms of your preparation. And then once the game is over, it's hard all of a sudden just to change gears. But seeing the players celebrate, we had a number of alums that were on the sideline and then in the stands. To see them in tears, to see our parents and families and friends just hugging and getting choked up and celebrating, it was just awesome to see.
Yeah, I didn't want you to become the Marv Levy of the lacrosse world. And, like the Bills. How many times did they lose?
I think they had lost 4.
They have lost 4. So you would have added one more to that. And so you wanted, we work with teams. We both, are in coaching in many ways. You're an incredible leader. I admire your leadership so much. So what's the secret? I mean, people are wondering, okay, 5 out of 7, national championships that you're playing in, right? 7 seasons, 5 national championships. You've won 1 now. Like, what's the secret for getting back there year after year after year?
It's hard to pinpoint one thing, and I could probably go on and on about all the things. And obviously, to keep it a little bit shorter, first and foremost, I inherited a lot of really good players. When I got here, I came to a place where there's a very strong commitment for lacrosse. So those things to me are critical, to have the support, have the talent. Obviously, I have great coaches that are so committed, and a group of players that year after year, are very driven. They understand the expectations. They have a high level of commitment. They make a lot of sacrifices, and I think there are a lot of talented teams out there. But I think our kids realize it's so much more than just talent. It's really trying to become the best team we can be, defining roles and guys buying into roles and then giving their best all the time.
So I'm wearing this shirt in honor of you, just so you know. We have a long history. I should tell people that we actually played lacrosse together at Cornell. I still remember you on the field and the kind of leader you were even then. I was wondering what do you remember about me as a teammate? Like, what was I like? Because I have trouble remembering what I was like as a teammate. Be honest. You're free to be honest.
Well, certainly you were a much better player than I was.
No, I wasn't.
That's certainly that's an easy one. I think you had great speed. You were very strong, very relentless, really good determination. You were very much a team first guy. And I'm not telling you that just to tell you that, but you were a guy that every time the whistle blew, you were ready to roll. You were ready to practice. You were a selfless guy that whatever the team needs, you were going to do. And I felt like you did that a lot. But you also made practice better. One of the things we like to talk about with our guys is, what are you bringing to practice? And sometimes with exams and family commitments, things like that, you can come to practice and not be focused. You were always a guy that, you was very clear that you were in the moment and you were excited to get after it and compete each day.
Well, thanks, John. I think that's very kind of you. I don't remember all that, but I appreciate that. I remember your leadership. I remember you always knew where everyone was supposed to be. I remember when guys weren't doing what they were supposed to be doing. You got frustrated a few times. Like I remember you already had the coach mindset even then when we were like not bringing it in practice like we should have that day. Do you remember that?
I think, certainly for me, I realized that a big part of what I needed to bring was my very best in practice to try to stay competitive with some of the great players, on our team. And some of those players were the best in the country. So I couldn't afford to come with a bad attitude or not focused or a lot of energy, or certainly I wouldn't have been very helpful for the team. So sometimes knowing who you are and knowing that you have some limitations makes you more focused and more prepared, because you don't want to let your teammates or your coaches or anybody down around you.
Yeah, no, I remember you as a really strong player and a great guy. And again, it's been enjoyable to watch all your success over the years. So you went to work and coach at Navy for a while. What was that experience like?
Tremendous. I think it's one thing that anybody who wants to coach or be a successful leader, if you can ever get time at a service academy, they're basically laboratories of leadership. It's 24/7 leadership, character development, just doing things the right way. Obviously, there's some a higher purpose there to what they're doing. They're developing men and women of character, leaders for our country. So the selfless nature, of the people there, not only the midshipmen, but the people that work there, you can talk to just about anybody on campus and learn something about leadership, selflessness, commitment, dedication. So it's hard not to take away a lot of the great qualities that a place like the Naval Academy exhibits every single day.
So you won a national championship. Like, what's the mindset now as you move forward? I know that you're not resting on your laurels. So what are you telling the team? What's the mindset, and how does one approach a season after they've had the ultimate success?
What's tricky about a spring sport is, for us, our students leave before Memorial Day weekend, which is when the championship game is played. So a lot of our students are gone. We're still practicing. So, obviously when you get to that last game and you're successful, win or lose, whether you're successful or not, you'll play on Monday, and a lot of the kids are leaving on Tuesday and Wednesday. They have internships that are waiting for them, summer jobs, things like that. So, those last few days, the kids leave quickly, and in certain ways, even when you win, it's a little bit, it's a little bit saddening, just because you're saying goodbye, the journey's over. And a big part of it, I think, for our staff and certainly myself is, the journey is what makes it special. The journey is filled with highs and lows and ups and downs, a lot of opportunities to teach and for the young people to learn, moments of growth, when you're 18 to 22 years old. So what's been tricky for us is, we end up winning the championship. 2 days later, everybody leaves. But when the fall comes, all of the students come back, and really, instead of moving forward, you have a lot of students and people on campus who are seeing you for the first time, and they're congratulating you and they want to honor you. So we've really had to be careful. I want our young men to enjoy the moment. They've done something that has been incredible, and especially the way they did it. The way they represented our school and our state and our alums was really important. So I'm trying to balance, and our staff's trying to balance, enjoying the moment and being proud of what they accomplished as a selfless group, but also realizing this is 2018. It's a new year, and last year's plays don't carry over to this year's games. And that's something that you mentioned to me in one of our recent conversations. And it's certainly something that I put in the back of my mind is it is kind of tricky. And I certainly wasn't going to shortchange these guys, but we constantly are messaging them about, okay, this is a new year. We want to make sure that you enjoy and appreciate what you've done, but it's a new group and it's a new journey. And I think our kids have gotten that. It's been something we've had to make sure we address, but our leaders understand that. Our seniors know this is really their team, and they want to make sure that, where the last senior group left us, they want to continue to build upon that.
A lot of coaches talk about the problem of entitlement with young athletes today. What do you think about entitlement, and how do you make sure that your athletes, your student athletes, your team is not entitled? Like, hey, we won a championship, we're going to show up, we're going to win another one.
I think that's always tricky. Whether you win a championship or not, you're always balancing. You want your young men to be confident. They need that confidence, that belief. Yet they need to, constantly remind themselves, okay, to be successful, we need to prove ourselves every time we come out. We can't just expect it to happen. We need to make it happen. And part of being successful is our approach and our consistency in our approach. And realizing for us, it's really about just trying to be the best that we can be every single day in everything we do. So if we're competing against ourselves and we're trying to just reach our full potential in all that we do, if we take that mindset every day of the year, we're going to put ourselves in a position to be the best we can be. The challenge is trying to stay focused every day. There are a lot of distractions. There are a lot of things that can take you off your line. So I think it requires a great staff, a focused staff, a group that has high expectations, a group that has some experience to make sure that we keep this car on the road and between the lines.
Love that. I prefer the term bus instead of car, but I like that. So what are you excited about now? Like, what is John Tillman excited about?
I love the beginning of every year. We're a couple months in now, but I love late August when the students start moving in on campus. Just driving in and you see families unpacking their cars. You see young people going into the dorms. There is so much energy and enthusiasm. These young people are going on a 4-year journey, obviously a journey that's going to impact their lives for many, many years. And a new group of young men join our program. So to me, that infusion of energy, a new group, new goals. Obviously, the goals don't really change, but the group that you go on the journey with does. And I think the fact that it is fresh, it's new, there are new schematic things that you need to figure out what's going to, put your team in the best position possible to be successful. You have to develop new leaders. The young guys have to learn how to follow. There are a lot of young guys that making that adjustment to college is a big challenge. You're excited about seeing them struggle, but seeing them overcome some of those struggles and be successful, and seeing their peers and their teammates help them through those struggles so that we develop that family atmosphere, and they develop those strong bonds of brotherhood.
So why do you coach? I mean, you've had so much success. What drives you now, and ultimately what always drove you?
I think relationships. I was thinking about that the other day. My mom was a teacher, so I think part of my mindset was always, teaching and hearing about what she did every day, and then seeing what she did and the impact she could have. And I owe so much to my coaches for all the things they did, even when I was younger and playing Little League baseball to high school. I looked up to them. I learned a lot from them. I certainly owe them a lot. I didn't always make the best choices. Sometimes I lost my focus, but they helped me. They supported me. They challenged me. They made me better. And sometimes when you're younger, you don't always realize that. You're not at a point where you can, realize that, geez, they told me some things maybe I didn't want to hear, but I actually needed to hear that. So knowing that impact and knowing what, they had done for me, it's nice to be on the other side now, realizing that maybe you can help these guys grow and learn and, hopefully positively impact their lives, create an atmosphere where they grow into men that are great leaders, that are positively impacting their communities. They get all the requisite skills that they need to be successful in life. And then they pass that on, just like my coaches passed on to me. And they have just great lives. And obviously that's something that I love about our sport is it is a very small sport. And I think we all feel a lot of gratitude to the game, and we're always trying to give back.
Yeah, your leadership really inspires me. You inspire me. A few more questions before we go. I love to ask people these questions for every interview. And one is, what is a defining moment in your life? Just if you had to pick one moment that really helped you become who you are today, what would one of those moments be?
Well, it's funny.
Besides meeting me when we were 18 years old.
Well, I was thinking about that the other day, and I remember being in high school, and I had grown up, on the basketball court just down the street, just going out in the summertime, and we'd go down to the park and play, and certainly would play games of basketball, and certainly just love competing and being with my friends and being active. When I got to high school, I played lacrosse, but it was not the first sport I played. I think it was my sophomore year or my freshman year. A friend of mine had invited me to go on spring break with him. And, I was like, okay, yeah, that sounds great. Well, I informed my coach, hey, I think I'm going to, miss a couple games because my friend invited me to go on spring break. And my coach, just sat down and said, hey, let's talk about this a little bit. And talked about commitment and talked about, hey, it's the middle of the season. You decided to be part of this team. You made a commitment to the team. You can't go. And it was a short-lived thought, and it was kind of a wayward thought. But it was, to me, a defining moment because, if I had, fought that or, not stayed true on that commitment, who knows what would have happened after that. Obviously my teammates would have looked at me differently. Who knows if I would have played the next year. So I think sometimes, again, having that impact of a great coach that instead of, just, sitting me down and yelling at me, just talk to me about, okay, let's talk about this decision and how it will impact you and the team. And certainly I never wanted to do anything that would impact the team negatively. So that kind of brought me back. But, now that I stayed with the team and stayed with lacrosse, my life is very different now. And certainly I'm thankful for my coach for that, and thankful for, again, all the relationships that I've had, and what a wonderful, life I've been blessed with.
It's been amazing. Could you have ever dreamed that you would be in this position right now in your life years ago?
Not at all. And like we talked about earlier, I certainly was not the best player and never have claimed to be. But I've been so blessed to be at places where I could learn a lot about teamwork, organizations and how they work, and just, study relationships and team dynamics, and just been surrounded by great leaders that I've learned from, coaches and a great family, but also great assistant coaches. And it's certainly, again, I just feel very blessed to be at a place like Maryland, where there's great people. We have great families in our organization, but lacrosse means so much to not only the people on campus, but everybody in our state. And that really motivates you because you don't want to let Terp Nation down.
That's awesome. So, I talk about this one word concept, picking a word for the year. If you don't have a word, what would your word be for this coming season, for this year? If you have one, would love to hear it. Do you have a word?
Um, I think I think maybe for this year, I would just say relentless. I think that's, for us this year, there's going to be a lot of challenges, especially, after last year's success. We're going to get everybody's best effort. So we've really got to be relentless. We've got to attack this thing. People have talked about the defending champions, and I've heard this from somebody else, and I want to give credit, whoever said it, I certainly stole it from them, was instead of being defending champions, you're attacking champions. Last year's team is gone, so we've got to attack this thing, and we can't have a defensive mindset. We've got to go out and get it every day, and we've got to attack and be relentless in our attack.
Yeah, that was something actually I shared with you, John. I learned that from a Penn State sports psychologist, and he gave me the research that showed that teams that were defending a championship and had the mindset that they were defending didn't do well, but teams that approached the year, they were attacking, trying to win a new one. It wasn't about last year. They weren't defending anything. The research shows those teams had more success. So that perspective made everything. So he deserves the credit. I'm not sure of his name right now.
I'm going to give it to you. So
no, we'll give it to him. We'll both give it to him. All right. So one final question. What are you dreaming about in the future? I asked you what you're excited about now, but what are you excited about in the future? What are you moving towards? Pull out that telescope. What do you see? And then what's that microscope? What's your commitment to get there? What are you committed to right now? So telescope, big picture vision, microscope, what are you committed to?
Well, we're doing a lot of things on campus. It's actually a great time to be in College Park. There's a lot going on in the city. There's a lot going on our campus, and we're super excited about that. Even in our program in our 7 years, we're really driven to continue to try to get better in every aspect of the program. One of the things we continue to build on is really our mentoring program. We have some very dedicated alums that that donate their time, that pair up with our players, that are trying to help them navigate through college, but while they're in college, get them thinking about opportunities after graduation. So we have, in the fall, we typically have a weekly speaker series where, we'll have somebody, basically come in and speak, or, we'll go online and we can FaceTime them or use another platform, and they'll talk to our guys about, okay, here's where I am, here's how I got here. And then they talk to them about the things that they can do to get themselves ready for the real world. And that's really important for our program. We want this to be a great 4 years for them, not only on the field and in the classroom, but we realize that they're going to have to go out there and be on their own. So we not only want to help them get great jobs and jobs that they're excited about, not just settle for a job, but continue to give them the skills to be successful there. So those are things that, we're continuing to work on. We have a new facility that's being built on campus. It's over $150 million facility that football is moving into. And, there's an indoor field there as well. And there's a new Center for Entrepreneurship there. Part of the medical center is going to go in there for the university. We'll be moving into a new facility. So we're excited about that. I think that's something that's going to be, transforming for our program. And then we're going to have to do a good job of fundraising for that. So those are some things that we're working on behind the scenes, above and beyond trying to, help our guys make sure they're staying focused on school and they're becoming the best students and people they can be.
Folks, as you can tell, my friend John Tillman, he's all about his players. He's all about his team. I asked him about his dream, his vision. He's talking about his team. He's talking about his university. That's just the kind of person he is. John, that's the kind of person you are, and I really appreciate it. I believe that's why you're so successful, because you live and breathe your team, your players, really all about them and helping them become the best that they can be. So it's really no accident that you've had success. John Tillman, thanks so much for making time for sharing with me and Positive University. Hopefully people watching, you've benefited from this. If you want to learn more about John, where can they learn more about you and besides Wikipedia?
I guess probably the best option is, the Maryland website, umterps.com. Certainly a lot of great coaches there as well in our department, and our sports information people, they do a tremendous job with that. And John, just thank you. We've had some tough years, and a lot of the things that you've done, the books, you've spoken to our team, and it certainly helped our program. We've gone through some tough times and some adversity, and you've helped pull us through. You've also helped us create a great culture here. So thank you for all that you've done for us. But I know there are a lot of other programs that read your books, and they listen to you, and they follow you on social media. So you're making a great impact, and thank you very much for that.
Thanks, John. Yeah, I really enjoyed speaking to you guys, and just remember your team and the kind of people they were, the character they had, and just being around them, came to one of your games and just loved those guys. So you're doing an amazing job. Keep up the great work, and keep attacking for a new one. Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Stop this.